Hello again, VOTOMS fans. If you watch my channel, I've reviewed a bunch of these 1/48 scale VOTOMS robots by Takara. So they're really cool. They have so many details, but they are so small that it is a little fidgety. And a lot of these parts are just friction fits, like these flaps here, and sometimes they wear out, the little pegs that go into the tiny holes. So actually, some of mine are glued on now because I'm sick of the little pieces falling off. So then I got this on a pretty good deal on eBay, and this is kind of like a deformed, a little bit of deformation, whereas this is actually pretty accurate looking to the cartoon. But anyways, this is made by V2, the guys that make those acid rain toys. So it's 1/28 scale. And both of them have figures, but this one actually has a figure that articulates and stuff, so it's really cool. And granted, I've only played around with this a couple days, but it seems pretty durable. Although in my review, one of these pieces fell off. But the joints stay in place because a lot of them are ratcheted, and the joints just seem pretty durable. So the guys, that shaking is like this thing. Okay, but anyways, these two are standing on a pretty big box, right? So, sorry, I want to get those robots out of the way. So there's some 1/12 scale, or 6-inch action figure scale. And in this box is supposed to be something from a brand called Yamato. I found a thread online, it's on a Macross thread, and they talk about VOTOMS and all the related toys. And also 3-0 also makes a 1/12 scale, very expensive, but it looks fantastic. But I've heard of part breaking, like joints breaking. So I hear this was actually a toy, and so henceforth it should hopefully be more durable. Although this is very expensive also because it's huge and is long out of production. So there's no store stock this. You gotta go on your whatever sources for used toys, right? eBay, that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's take a look here. I don't know if this is used or if it's brand new, because I'm gonna guess it's at least over 10 years old. But all right, so through that thread, I guess I'll have to leave a link to it in the comments or whatever the description of this video. They talk about version 1. Units by Yamato, which are really flimsy, like the guy will barely stand up because the thing is very heavy, but the joints aren't strong enough. So that's why I held out for a version 2, which supposedly they made some changes and are a little bit more durable as far as the ability to pose them, and the joints not wearing out. Okay, I got all that plastic wrap off. Let's take a look. This is definitely a used toy because look at the box. It's just all mangled up, right? The tape's been done several times now, so this may have passed through several people's hands. Let's see here. There's a bunch of, I guess, stats. So in the real fictional world, it's a cartoon, by the way. This thing's supposed to be 3.8 meters tall. I'm more interested in the weight. It's like 6 tons. So it's basically a walking tank. That's what these are supposed to be. They're piloted by one person, and they have some weird liquid power system, which I don't know anything about because I haven't really watched the series so much. They've had several different series, possibly some movies as well. But I do know this is a star character, Chiriko Kyuvi, or Japanese pronounce that differently. Okay, so on the side we have this big nice illustration, and this thing flips up. Oh, okay, so we have an indication of the robot itself. I'm gonna put this down actually. Hold on. Bottom, some legal stuff. Okay, so we move up here. So now you can see some line art and some Japanese text up there. Some photos, but of the features. It folds down and stuff. And then we actually have the toy in the vacuum packaging. So now let me open this thing. Alright, I slid that out of the cardboard, but it's in another piece of cardboard. Oh, there's something on the bottom of it as well. So let me get this out. On the bottom. Sort of cardboard, just to protect this bag of stuff. It's unnecessary. I think they could just put the bag underneath the plastic bubble stuff, but I think these things were only like $100 or something when they're brand new. I didn't see a year on the packaging, although I wasn't really looking for it either. Let's see, maybe we have something in here. Some sort of member club, probably. You know, what are you interested, that kind of thing. These are stickers. They're not decals. So you can see how some air is underneath this edge, right? So these are too low grade for me. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I can't reproduce that very easily. It's possible I might use some. What I'm afraid of is whether or not the adhesive is still sticky. You know, old stickers tend to lose their adhesiveness, even if they've never been used. Okay, so now we have a book. Let me change the angle here. So 1/12 scale Armor Trooper VOTOMS collection model. Sculptor Kenichi Nomoto. A technical advisor, plan advisor, photography cooperation, packaging design. Okay, it's nice to give both of those guys credit. I can't read any of that. Alright, so it's actually saying the toy now. The height is 300 millimeters. No, that's wrong. 300, or is it? The number of, oh, I see. Never mind. This is right. I thought it said 1,000 like kilograms or something, but it says 1,000 grams. So this whole toy is only 1 kilogram, or 2.2 pounds. So that actually makes sense for something that big. There's over 300 pieces in this thing. Sorry. Get closer here, you guys. So much glare, it's glossy paper. Okay. Hopefully you can read that now. 17 points of articulation. There's an accessory of a machine gun and the marking stickers, which again we just looked at. And it gives you an idea where you should put those stickers based on probably, you know, where they were in a certain TV episode or something. Since I haven't really watched the episodes, I'm not too particular about it. That's the crouch down mode. Okay, so it shows you how to fold the legs down. And then when the thing is crouched down, the pilot is supposed to be able to get in and out of the thing. Shows really cool detailing. We don't need to see this so much, we're going to look at the toy, right? Yeah, some sort of details there. Talks about the punch mechanism, and you can take some armor plates off. Yeah, you can take some plates off and see some inner details, kind of like Bandai's Gundam robots. They're upper level robots. Okay, some cool little cartoon line work here. Yeah. And then they have separate figures of the same scale that can go into these robots. So this doesn't come with the pilot. For its day, whenever this was, it was around $40. Well, today's exchange rate is pretty crazy. Historically, it's usually 100 yen is a dollar, but I think it's 150 now. But anyways, take it for what you will. That amount. Date-wise, though, still. Let me look back at the box. Hold on. Well, nowhere in this book or anywhere in that box does it say when this was made, so you probably have to do a search for it. One thing I didn't read off is right here. This toy is made of ABS plastic, PVC plastic, and die cast, which I assume is some sort of pot metal. Okay. Historically, I don't think ABS is a very durable plastic. PVC is because it's used to make pipes. like water pipes and stuff, but I don't know about ABS. It tends to be a really brittle plastic. But maybe there's different grades of ABS. So some tape holding this together. Each side. This is massive. So today I'm actually a large scale model collector, not a small model collector. I got this because I collect a lot of 1/12, well, not a lot. I have a bunch of 1/12 scale action figures, and I want to put one inside of this thing. Okay, first off, we got this gun. I mean, boy, it's hard to, let me get the tape measure. So, you know, judging one's hands is a rough estimate, but tape measure doesn't lie at all, or it gives you a good estimate. It's almost 11 inches, but it's more, a little bit over, I guess it's 273 millimeters long. So it's a big toy. This is bigger than any 1/6 scale rifle that I have. So, which makes, well, actually that doesn't make sense if this is 1/12. Well, I guess it does make sense because this is a giant robot that people go within, so this is huge. I think I saw in other people's videos that this thing does move, and yeah, there's the safety. Sorry, just looking. Maybe a different right angle. Use that first right angle to, because there's just a big mess behind this countertop. There's no like safe or fire mode. It's just a line. Would have been smart, I think, if they molded it and saying it's okay or safe or positive or negative or something like that. Maybe one of the stickers probably goes there. Does this come apart? Yes. This is very wobbly. So this is like a friction fit. Yeah. Okay. So you can see it was molded on the sprue and they tore it off there. So it's not the most polished toy. I think these are pretty much mostly raw plastics because they expect people to customize them themselves. So this looks very toy-like. You know, this thing does come up, so the guy can do that. I'm sure this comes off. I think it slides off actually. Yep, slides upwards. So there's a screw holding this pair of pieces together. And then this magazine has that little T-joint. And you can see some of the molding screw again. Oh, yep, okay, that's just a friction fit as well. So what's nice is you can, since it is, excuse me, a lot of friction fit stuff, you know, painting it's a little bit easier. So this will probably, I don't know. I think it's trapped from inside. But I think if you took that one screw off, you could probably take the whole thing apart pretty easily. Okay, cool. We have here, bag of hands. Okay, we have this hand here, and it's weird because it's so big, but these three fingers are all molded as one piece. In fact, I think the trigger finger, well, does it move? No, the trigger finger doesn't even move. That's really weird. Like tiny, small models, like that B25, these all pivot, but there's no indication that these fingers pivot at all. That's why I guess they gave you two hands. This is the thumb here, it just fell off. Okay, and that's just a friction fit on a stub. Alright, so it does feel like quality plastic though. This is like that hard yet flexible plastic. Either hard rubber or soft plastic. I don't know what it really is, but okay, so the other hand is just a mirror image of that. We have two extra gun magazines, and oh, well, this is loose, but it doesn't pivot upwards. I thought it was going to actually swing over, but it does not. Yeah, that's weak. It's too bad it doesn't actually swing up and over. Okay, And there must just be friction pins or something inside, because I don't see any sort of screw holding these two halves together. Just a seam line. Okay, these are a bunch of magazines for the hand feature. I guess in the cartoon, there's like a piston in the hand and it's powered by a cartridge. So it literally has like a super fast punch mechanism because it's powered by a cartridge. Kind of like those guns that you use to drive nails into like decking and stuff like that. They're like shooting blanks, you know, to propel the nail into wood and stuff. Okay, so these do feel really high quality. Alright, that's it for the accessories. So, these two antennae out here, gotta be real careful of those on all VOTOMS scopedogs. Okay, let's get an idea how big this guy will be. I have to lay it this way, I guess, so you can see. This is so big. This is usually where I do my airsoft videos, because I have a small photo booth. Okay, so measuring from the bottom of the foot to around the top of the head, I would say around there, like 12 3/4 of an inch, or 32 centimeters, some of that ballpark. Actually, accounting for the antennae, I would say it's a little over 13 inches, and maybe 33, no, it's 33.5 centimeters. Okay. So it's big, and I'm sure it weighs a kilogram, as the little instruction booklet said. Alright, so let's see if this thing feels wobbly. Whoa, it's definitely heavy. And you saw the legs move. I believe the torso actually comes off. At some point there's a tooth. There it goes, it's at the 90-degree mark. So I think the earlier ones, these teeth were at the 45-degree mark. So when you spin it, the thing would just fall apart really easily. But it obviously makes sense to have it at 90 degrees so you can get a lot of rotation before the top or bottom comes off. But do keep in mind, if you lift this up like this thing's just going to fall to the floor and you're going to probably break something. Okay, so let's start with the head here. The scope mechanisms look pretty nice. You got this domed clear green, clear red, and a clear blue down there. And then this surround actually has like hash marks, right, some sort of molded details, like a scope details or something. It is called a scopedog after all. Behind these things, there's also more molded details, like little grooves and stuff like that. So obviously it spins around and stuff. If one were really motivated, you could probably get a tiny flashlight inside of this. But yeah, you could do it. Wiring it, though, would be difficult, but it could be done. For me, I don't love this enough to do that, but it can be done. You could just put an LED inside this. Oh, look at that, the arm fell off. We'll get to that later. Well, just take it all apart, it makes it easier to look at individual parts. So again, I think it's meant to fall apart like that so you can repaint them. And or, if it does fall over, the arm will just pop off instead of break a joint. That's what I'm theorizing Yamato was thinking when they built this thing for sale. Okay, we got some nice, lug nuts or some sort of bolt pattern in there, and some bumps here, rivet pattern. I was thinking this would spin separately, but I don't know. Oh, it's broken, is it? I think it's broken. I think that's a stress bend. I don't know. But I don't know if it's, well, I probably shouldn't play around with it too much. So be mindful that it's definitely flexy. It might be broken already, but I actually don't care so much because I have a 3D printer. I could probably just print something even more detailed than this. Okay, well obviously the whole thing comes up, and so you'd be able to see the pilot inside of there. The head itself spins and comes off, I believe. I watched a couple other videos on this thing, so there's at least 3 videos I think on these 1/12 scale ones. So it's just a smooth ring here, no teeth or anything like that. No lip to trap it, so it's just a friction fit. And then, so different colored plastics here. Maybe they're communication boxes, radios, or something like that. I like how it has this suspended tubing and stuff like that, so grab handles or whatnot. And then there's different color inside here. Now this does have a perimeter of teeth. I don't know, it's just a design detail. I don't think it actually functions. I don't see a tooth back there, so back here that is. Well, maybe. Well, we'll see if we find it later. And then cool, what's on the back side of the visor, there's a bunch of details molded and they're hand painted, so really cool. Yeah, let's see about this antenna here. You know what, I think this is a separate piece. See that little air gap as I move it? So maybe it's meant to pop out if it falls over. I don't want to force it, but it's a separate piece. Because again, if it falls, maybe it'll just pop out instead of break these 2 things off. Actually, if I were to break these off, I'd probably drill them out and put metal rods in. Maybe copper, so the copper can bend repeatedly. Alright, just pull out some wiring. Okay, so that's a cool head detail there. Okay, here's the top of the seat. The actual canopy cover, we got some depressions going around here, and I don't know if this is like a handle to, you know, lift this up in the cartoon. Some little detail there and there. Okay, some recesses here, maybe venting details in the front as well. Back has these backpack hooks. I don't know if they come out, doesn't seem like it, but you can get accessory backpacks and stuff, which maybe someday I'll do. So yeah, the joint here, looks like it might be a separate piece. I feel like there's an air gap below it, so yeah, some details for like screws, flathead screws, that makes no sense. Does this come out? It probably does. It looks like that's that little place to put your screwdriver. It might be an accessory where they can swap those out. Or maybe it's just meant to be easier to paint. You know, if you pop it out, you can paint it a different color. So we got some hinge details, panel lines, all that stuff. Okay, very neat. Down here as well. Down here, it's obviously a gray. I think this is this. I don't know if it's a separate piece from that. I think it is because you can see these air holes there. Okay, so the bottom here. It's like an indent there. Maybe there's a ball on the other side to index it. So this opens, and so you can see the foot of the pilot later on if you wanted to. The grab handle has some rivet marks. Pretty neat. Oh, it comes off. Alright. So some more gray and light blue boxes, electronics boxes. Okay, so the hinge, is it fully trapped? Like this side came off. So that's good again because you can, you know, remove it, paint it a lot easier if all the parts can be taken apart. Okay. Now I gotta figure out how to get that back on. Okay, there we go. So very nice. We got some corrugation details as it feels like stamped, you know, like the inside of a car's body. Rib for strength. Very nice. Now we got these feet landing platforms, and they do move. You know, obviously they're hinged there, but they have a lot of nice molded details in there as well. So you can paint those, weather them to like silver or something like steel. Some hoses molded into this plastic here. Oh, there's a clear piece of plastic here. So this head thing. I don't know if the back, on the smaller models, this whole thing raises up so it can clear this ledge. I think this one does too. Let me see. It can't open because this is colliding. So I'm trying to wiggle it upwards. Got it. Alright, so I can still see a steel rod there for the hinge. So that's nice. That's much more durable than plastic. Something is still holding it up. I think there's pistons here. Alright, so there's these pistons here, kind of like on the trunk of your car. I don't know if those are metal in there. I think they are. I think the actual shafts are, chrome-plated steel. But there's a lot of residue going on in there. I don't know if that's plastic residue or if the chrome plating is wearing off. It doesn't really bother me because I want this thing to look old and weathered, like a fighting war robot. Alright, so this is meant to protect the controls. Now this is really detailed here. These are, well, those are actually a lot more rigid than I thought they would be. They are obviously flexible, but I think they're plastic, so you don't want to flex them too much, they might snap. These controls flip upwards, and they do have black paint on them, or maybe it's brown. That's brown actually, to match the seat. The seat headrest moves forward and back, and then all these electronics control boxes again are really nice. They got a lot of molded details and a lot of paint details, red, white, gray on the light blue plastic, the hoses there, hoses back there. Very cool. Yeah, nice. And it's not, well, the top boxes aren't symmetric, this one's got a lot more different stuff going on. But the lower boxes do look symmetric. Okay. Still, pretty neat. So I'm going to try to get a figure in that later. So how is this on? Oh, it's just a little ledge on this little, snap plastic. Sorry, I keep losing focus. Yeah, so be mindful of that. I feel like you could snap that off easily. Okay, so red shoulder here, and this is a nice metallic maroon. It's a pretty dark red. This little D-ring or suspension ring, I think, is used to fly these guys into battle. Oh, and it actually comes off. Huh. Interesting. Well, again, you could paint it easier. If it falls, it'll just fall off instead of break. So this thing does pivot, independent of the shoulder. And the shoulder has it's not just a circle, it's cut off. It's more like a slot with a tooth on the top. So you can index it, I guess. Oh, that's a lightning hole. So the bicep has a full swivel. And then, well, that doesn't spin work independently, I don't think. Is it butterfly? No. Okay. So you'll see there is indexes top and bottom. So I guess it doesn't really matter which way, but I'll say I'm going to just put it upwards. So now, okay, so it's not the green spinning, it's the actual piece that I slid in. So it's this thing is now spun. Okay. So we know that. Alright. So, the image showed that these armor plates come off. It's kind of weird though, because there's no detail below this. It just looks like a smaller version of this. But I think there might have been an episode where it didn't have this armor, so probably accurate. I hear a ratchet going on there. That might be one of the slots, so that's good. So that'll help it keep a pose, even holding that heavy rifle. Alright. We got some molded details there. That's that. 2 pegs holding that on. Yeah. This is obviously hinged. It might be the same way like this. I don't think it's going all the way through. But I don't want to pry it off because they'll wear down. So yeah, not really detailed on the back side, unfortunately. So this is the closed fist. Yeah, okay. So the wrist itself, obviously you can see it hinging or pivoting on a pin, but also the hand will rotate all the way around. But this thing will not go in this direction, only this direction. But obviously when you spin the hand, I guess you can eventually get any direction you want. So you have two. Okay, rivet marks there. Alright, the punch mechanism. There's one of those magazines we saw earlier. There's a spring in here, and once this magazine pops out, the thing's going to punch forward. So, there it goes, it punched. So I think in the real cartoon, like a cartridge would pop and fly out of there because it used up the gases from the cartridge. Alright, so it's a part of the show. It's got these pistons molded in down in there, and there's the actual spring. It's probably like a ballpoint pen spring or something. I'm never going to display like that. Yeah. So in order to lock it back, I'm going to have to pop in another magazine. I don't think it matters what side. And yeah, I don't think any of this matters. So anyways, I just do that. There. Now it's locked in place. You'll notice the magazine is not as wide as the arm. It's quite a bit of short. And I think that's because you want to have that extra space so you can get the other magazine in to punch it out. Okay, well anyways, that feature is pretty, not necessary for me, but if you're a diehard fan of the cartoon series, it's accurate to it. So this is pretty much identical, it's just that this is the green plastic. And let's just make sure the mechanism works. Yeah, punches. So push this, oh, I guess you have to push this back with, I was thinking if I push it back in the magazine it would just fall back, but it did not work that so easily. Okay, ratchet, swivel. Okay, that's all good. Now, swapping hands. A peg rests in this slot, so yeah. Okay. Alright, so you can see there's a screw holding this, and 4 screws are holding that punch mechanism together. This actually, no, I don't think it's trapped. Doesn't matter. Okay, so just pick one pin, then maybe I'll pick the bottom pin the way I took it off. It's a lot harder to get this back on this other hand. Seems equidistant, so I guess it doesn't matter which side you go first. I don't see a ledge really in here so much. I do see it's a depression for where the pins rest, but I gotta get past this lip. There we go. Okay. So it takes some effort, but I guess that keeps the hand from just falling off easily, especially if it holds that heavy gun. So, get this finger off. Let's see about this side. So it just comes out straight out. I want to get the gun in there. Well, maybe I'll do it on the other side. Okay, it definitely takes some effort to get it past that. And there's a found home. I don't think I pushed it on enough yet. 'Cause it doesn't... No, I guess it's good now. Okay, so... the gun. There's no like index to hold the gun, so I'm not sure how well it's going to hold it. Well, the finger does go through the trigger area. Yeah, see, I've grown accustomed to seeing like a peg and stuff like that to hold weapons in hands. But I guess they're just counting on this one thumb to hold it all together. Maybe some sticky tack would help it out, but, well, right now at least. Well, for display purposes it seems fine. Obviously you don't want to throw this across the room. Okay, that's that. Let's go to the bottom. So we got 4 screws, Phillips holding this top part, 2 screws holding this bottom part down. Oh yeah, these side plates here, you can see these 3 holes. So you can put 3 of these magazines up in this thing. So obviously there's a hole in the magazine, just pop that one. I see. So essentially you want the groove to be on the bottom. There's only one groove on that surface, so. Okay. I do wonder if I can put this on this side. Does this come off? I think it does. Ah, there's a screw. So you might be able to unscrew that. And I'm thinking this will slide in place. Let me go get a screwdriver. Alright, let's see what happens here. Yeah, as suspected. The thing is, nothing's locking this in place. There's no, like, oh, I guess it's probably on the hinge down here. I don't see it. Well, let's see what happens. We'll pop this on. So I guess it's just going to be gravity holding that down, which is fine. Actually, you know what? I don't think I need to unscrew it. It's just a friction thing. So let me put this back together. Hold on. Alright, so that's screwed back together. So it's kind of nice because you could actually probably remove this whole plate and make your own, just out of, you know, different plastic, different shapes and stuff like that, and just screw it back. So this thing just goes and then gravity's there. Pop it upward. But yeah, this thing probably does the exact same thing. But this is a much tighter fit. That's why I unscrewed it. Yeah, that's a much tighter fit compared to the magazine. Let me try the other magazine. Yeah, that's very loose too. See? Look how loose that is. So that's kind of weird that they would mold those so differently in their specs. But on this side, yeah, actually that one comes up. Well, it is tight though. See, it doesn't have any wobbliness to it. If I put this magazine on, definitely wobbly. If I put this magazine rack, yeah, that's very tight again. Alright, well anyways, just so I have a little diversity, I'm going to leave this side on with some of these gray mags, and I'll leave the other side with the big rifle magazine. Alright, so I guess those are like magazines for the punch arm mechanisms. So you can punch 3 more times. Alright, all these armor plates are hinged. And they're also screwed. This one's actually 2 pieces. This is covering up something. Yeah, so you can obviously take it apart, weather it nice and easily. Same here. Seems to be screwed together. Some underside detail here, panel lines, and some rivets or weld marks. Okay. So the crotch area seems to be 2 pegs there. Seems to be screwed together right there. And I don't know, but this gap is very concerning. It's not here. I don't know if the armor is supposed to come off of this. Let's see if I can pull it off. Alright, yeah, it's just a friction fit, so I guess that's supposed to be on purpose. You can probably adjust the tension right there with the Phillips. So, okay. I like that there's different colors, you know. It's better than just all the same plastic. So it's nice, these pegs also are rounded on the ends, so it's a lot easier for them to find the holes on this side. So that's pretty well thought out. I do have that, but for some reason, there we go. Alright. Panel lines, very nice. Looking there like, yeah, pretty much mirrored. Alright, so these plates come off as well. There should be some sort of radiator detail of some sort. Okay. Yeah, so the radiator has nice fins and some in and out plumbing pipes going to it. A little black paint wash would really help that out. This looks like a coolant tank, you know, with a gas cap on it. A coolant cap. I don't know, other little greeblies and whatnot. Different colors, you know, it's nice. So that's cool. And yeah, you may have seen or heard that piece fall off. You can just leave it plain like this, like an arena mode or something. But this is a spike mechanism where I believe they used to grab onto floors or possibly pivot around. So it's just friction fit again. Okay. Yeah, if that's pretty good for tightness, but if it works loose, you could probably just jam some floor polish or plastic wall mount putty. Alright, some more details molded in, some screws, panel lines, ridges. Very nice. These two flaps here, these armor plates here. This is a double one actually. So actually let's flip this. First let's go over the articulation. So the thigh will also go all the way back and forward. From here, ratcheting, we can go in and out. So seems like a good range of movement. So the knee, yeah, let's see, hold on, the crotch piece is still off there. So no pins at all. Oh, never mind, one pin holding that. Oops, sorry, just have the camera stand. Definitely some ratcheting going on. Oh, well, okay, the whole leg fell off. So it's got a hex in there. Alright, so plastic hex there. So these are all plastic joints. This is a little concerning, you know, I don't know if that's enough plastic to not crack with a lot of abuse. This, I wonder if that's metal. It's cool to the touch. I think that might be die-cast metal, that hex. So yeah, I think this and the other side and that thing are all one piece of metal. And so now I also think, yeah, this thing pivots. Yeah, there you go. It pivots independently of the other side. It's not one straight bar going through. There are two, so that's good. Okay, now. A little detail behind the kneecap. This armor here behind the knee. Interesting. Well, you're not going to get much bending out of this knee. It's like less than 90 degrees because it's colliding with itself. Oh, but now we pop the leg open. This is for the crouching down mode. And interesting. It looks like there's a piston. Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna get a flashlight. See? So that's pretty neat. They have a little plastic piston there. Just a little detail that most people wouldn't even see. Okay, so screwed together here, and this side also comes off, I believe. Gotta be careful. Yep, and it's mirrored. Would have been cool if it was a totally different thing, but I guess if it was a real robot, they'd want to have as many shared parts as possible. Alright, so now the ankle. Obviously a screw holding that thing together. I'm trying to pull it out. Oh, interesting. Unfortunately, this doesn't go down more, but there's two pistons there, or it looks like pistons would be, actuating the rocker. I think they're just floating. They're not attached to anything, but they're effective. They look like, they're actuating the foot. So a lot of rocker angle. The front back of the foot isn't very good because it's colliding or something there. The front could just collide right there. The back, I think, is these rods are probably colliding with something in there. So front back foot action, not very good. But you did see the toe does have a ratchet. And so I think the version 1s didn't have that ratchet, and so the things would want to topple over because they're so top heavy. Okay. This tire does spin. And does it recess? I think it does. It has to, or the thing's gonna want to fall over. So there's actually a separate panel here instead. Same with that. 2 different grains, 3 different grains it looks like. Anyway, it's neat. A lot of different details going on. Yeah. Let's see, so there's a hinge there for that. And then it's on a peg, and that's what lets the foot do this. Okay, very neat. Let's continue with landing mode. I'll leave the armor off right now. It's just, no reason to put it on. So landing mode. Put this leg back on. Torso back on. Should go both directions. Maybe it's colliding with that armor. Yeah, it was. So you want to put the torso on before you flip this thing upwards. Okay. Doesn't he? You do have to find this index, that tooth on one of them. So you rotate it down. Darn it. I'm gonna take this gun out. So that's the landing mode or the mounting mode. Now I gotta find some action figures to put in this guy. So let me come back. Well, no such luck with this guy. I even took the foot spikes off, but it's just the feet are just too wide here. If I could get his feet past this area, I could actually get that scopedog to sit inside there, but oh well, that's not the intention for me to put a 148 scale robot into a 112 scale. Let's try a couple other figures. What got me into collecting 6-inch action figures is a line called 3A, because I'd never seen 6-inch figures with such well-made clothing. This is real clothing, someone stitched up this jumpsuit, and this is a zombie robot or something like that. But anyways, I pulled this one out because the main character of the show has like either an orange or a red jumpsuit, to pilot this thing. If I actually just got a humanoid head and hands, it's kind of close. So let's see if this guy will fit, but actually before that, well, you know, let's do that. Well, that's not so bad, but it's not so good either. The problem with 3A figures is these boots, and actually a lot of military boots in 6-inch, they have no ankle cut, so this guy is he's just a little bit too tall. And obviously with this giant head, I don't think it's going to close really. But for an open position to display, it's not so bad. Okay, now, I kind of doubt C3PO is going to fit in here. Anyways, 3A, cloth figures. So this is a C3PO from SH Figure Arts. He's just too tall, not enough articulation, too much armor running into itself. So that's a no-go. So now we have a Damn Toys SAS action figure. So this is true 112 scale, 6-inch. But he's still just too tall. It's not going to work. It's a real shame because this guy's awesome. You know, he's got all this gear and stuff. And the one-piece jumpsuit again. It's all stitched up nice. So the last figure I'm going to try then is an actual female because she should theoretically be shorter, right? And this female has articulated ankles. So hopefully the boots and stuff. Boy, I think this was made by Virtual Toys or VTS. I forget what the actual figure is called though. Catch Me, maybe? I don't know. You'll just have to look up 112 scale Virtual Toys or VTS figure, and they haven't put out too many. But these things are really well done because they're owned by the same company that makes Damn Toys. And this rifle alone, look how detailed this thing is. All these little molded details is fascinating. Quite nice. Okay. So let's try to get this girl in here. Yeah, it's much easier to get the feet by. That foot's resting on the foot platform. Yeah, switch her down. Yep, there we go. So female works out a lot easier. You could probably get a more articulated dude. The problem is this guy can't bend very well because he's got this bulletproof vest, and that was taking up a lot of space too. Maybe if I took off the vest and stuff, he would fit. But I like the look of this guy, the way he is. In particular the head though, because this Chirico QV character from the TV show, when they're piloting these things, they hear these like masks with goggles and stuff. So let's see if we can do a head swap. That one's a ball peg. This one's a round peg, but just for this video. Now we have a woman in a peg, although her hand fell off. So yeah, that works. Problem is, just this outfit is so dark, it's hard to actually see. So I'm gonna try to find a better figure to get in here. But this one definitely, the canopy's gonna close. And yeah, you can see her in there, so I'll get the flashlight again. See? Alright, let's see what I can do for posing now. Well, I decided to put in an SH Figure Arts Spider-Man because Spider-Mans have a lot of articulation. Don't even ask if you can fit a Marvel Legends in these things. I highly doubt it. Marvel Legends just simply don't have enough articulation to get past that control mechanism. So, yeah, I'm going to stick for Spidey for now. I did also realize, yes, this is a very top-heavy model. You know, with Spider-Man and this rifle, right here in the torso, the thing wants to either flip backwards or forward. So the lower half of the legs seem very strong. It's just this section here, that's where it wants to fall down. So even with the version 2 improvements, I don't know if you want to be posing these all the time. I think it needs more ratcheting everywhere and or more robust joints. But it doesn't matter because I guess, you know, Yamato is not making these. They stopped making them a long time ago. I'm also noticing here, this is the version here, it says on the box, with clear armor parts. And there were clearly no armor parts in this thing, so definitely used. I kind of feel cheated. You know, I should probably get everything that's advertised, right? The listing that I bought this off of didn't mention that those parts were missing. In the grand scheme of it, though, I'd rather have the colored parts than the clear ones, but still, you know, you get what you pay for, right? But in this case, I didn't, so that's kind of annoying, and I have to probably send a message to the seller. So, here's the size comparisons. This 1/48 is just so small, it's like, yeah, it's magnitudes and difference. The 1/28, though, it's not, well, it's obviously a lot smaller. What I feel is, if you want to actually play around with the toy and pose it a lot, for me, this B25 just gives a sense that it's going to hold its pose better than either of these two. This one will hold its pose fine, it seems, because it's so light. Everything's so light on it. The problem is, the parts are so small, it's really hard to actually fidget around with the guy. But this is big enough you can get your fingers around it, and it has all the ratcheting mechanisms inside of it. So, playability wise, of these three brands, I would say B25. But anyways, what I like about this one, obviously, besides the fact that I can take an articulated action figure and put it inside of it, is because of its massive size. I think I'm gonna do a different video on weathering the thing. Like, I'm literally gonna rust it. I'm gonna apply rust to it. Alright, well anyways, thanks for watching today. I guess I'll see you in the next VOTOMS video.